Next up, we're going to start working on our leg, and the best place to work on the leg is right here at the hip where we're connecting in. We've got our little sphere that comes around, very similar shape. In fact, I'd say it's an exact shape of this piece right in here. So one of the things that we want to take advantage of is that if we have modeled something already that works for us, then let's go ahead and rip it off and use it somewhere else. So I'm just selecting on the part that I'm going to be wanting to work on and see if I can reuse. I'm going to make sure my object is a copy, not an instance. And I'll click OK. And remember, when you're making copies like that, all you got to do is Shift, click, and drag, and you can make that copy. Now this is a little bit too big. Let's scale that down just a hair. There we go. Get that basic shape that we're looking for right there. Now, do we need this piece right in here? No, not really. We don't need that piece unless we really wanted to make an exchange for the pieces right in here. And looking at it, maybe, maybe not. Let's see, we'd have to scale that piece down a little bit more. That's kind of a little bit too much to go. So let's go ahead and just go into this piece and delete some of that geometry that we don't need. We'll go to a front view, wireframe, and let's get rid of what we don't need. That piece right there, hit delete on the keyboard and we can get rid of it. And I'm going to select on my edges. I'm just going to pull this in and sink it in to the other shape right in there. We're just doing an overlap with that piece. Now the other thing that we can see, we can pull this down just a little bit so that we line up in the center of our other object. Nice, like that. There we go. Now the other thing that we could do is we could scale this up so that we hit that shape, that little circle right in there, nice and even. There's never really any harm in reworking some of those shapes. So how about we try a scale on it just to see what happens if we do scale this up. And we move this guy down, we pull this guy out. We get close, but not close enough to really modify the geometry. So we'll hang on to it the way it is. Again, a lot of what art is and modeling is just problem solving almost all the way through. You're always asking questions and answering questions to yourself. And if you can get the help of others to take a look at it while you're working on it, even better. Okay, so that basic shape is looking really nice and solid. I think we can hang on to it like it is. Now our other shape right here, our little cup piece right here on this ball and socket joint, this works pretty good. We like this. We can animate around that really nice and smooth. We've got a nice similarity going on in here. What we do need though is this piece right in here actually flares out right in here. So we really don't need any of this part of our model. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. So we'll go in, and in fact it looks like one piece. I'm going to go to element. Let's get rid of the pieces that are elements. Let's see, that one's definitely not. So I'm going to go back through, select that, delete that. And it looks like we've got a little piece here that we can get rid of. Now if you want to, you can most definitely just recreate this as is or with some adjustments. I'm just trying to look at it from a production standpoint of how do we optimize our time. And for the most part, if you know this piece, for instance, is going to be duplicated in multiple areas, what it means is you've actually bought yourself more time to focus just on this area to make it as tight as possible before you actually push it back out and through. Alright, so that gives us a pretty good shape right there. Let's go to a poly mode. Let's go to our front view. Let's zoom out just a little bit. Alt X so we can see through it. We'll use our scale tool. We know we're just going to scale this guy out. There we go. And we also know that we want a little bit more of a shape to it, so I'm going to use my connect tool. And my connect tool's got my 2. I'm going to take that back down to 1. And I'll say yes to that. And then we're just going to scale this guy out just a little bit as well. And you notice we've got this nice little ring going around. Let's take a peek to see if this is really the shape that we want. If it is, we can stick with it. If it's not quite what we really want, then our best bet is to actually flatten that out and make it plainer. There we go, so we have a nice flat edge going all the way around it. Nice. So we got the width that we want. Front and back, we're a little bit tight right in here, but that's okay for right now. Alright. Now I'm actually going to take this down just a little bit. We'll take it down one more. I'm going to lock my selection so that way I don't have to be right on it. And we'll just pull this down just a little. And then flare that out just a little bit. There we go. And space bar is your shortcut key to take that lock on and off. And all I'm doing is just adjusting the shape to get a little bit closer to what I want. Pull this guy in the center. Pull this one back over a little bit. There we go. Alright, we're looking pretty good right in there. I think we can pull our shape in a little bit front to back. So I'm just going to select right in here and we'll pull this shape in just a little bit. And there we go. Square it up a little bit more. Okay, that's getting us closer. I'm going to take a peek at this with a subdivision level on. So I'm just going to apply a turbo smooth to it. Definitely gets the shape a little bit more the way we like it, coming down in here. What we could do is flatten that bottom out so that we don't lose that edge right in there. So I'm just going to go back in. And real simple like, and in fact another way that as we're working on the object, if you want to see the effect of a modifier that's on top of one modifier, then we can do show end result, and that's basically saying, hey, I'm going to see what's up here and what's going on. Now you can tell that the selection is a little bit different. If we want to see the cage, the object's original position, we can go into the edit poly mode, turn the show cage on, and then we can see the cage. Now this goes away if we don't have a sphere as the base. If it's just the edit poly, then you're going to see this as you're working on it. So we've got that right there. Now let's say I went in and did an extrusion. You can see how that starts to tighten it up. If I did an inset, you can see how that tightens it up even more. So a great way to visualize those end results while you're working on them is just turning on that show end result, and that'll let you see what you're working on while you're working on it. Alright, I'm just going to tighten that one up even a little bit more. Okay. Alright, so that gives us the top of that leg. The next piece, we've got some more armor pieces coming down. And I think we'll go ahead and call this done with this part of the video, and then we'll start working on the rest of the leg next.